After waiting 7 long years for the second part of The Last of Us, it finally released last week and has had a rocky launch period, but the game has been mostly positively received for a lot of great qualities, with players taking control of Ellie once again in order to exact vengeance against people who have wronged her. And of course, the game is chock full of Easter eggs featuring Naughty Dog past projects, Sony items, and of course references to popular culture. But regardless of your opinion on the game, it does host a lot of cool Easter eggs that we're going to look at, and a lot of these are discovered later on in the game in locations that may be considered spoilers, so let this serve as your first and only warning. Spoilers alert. So if I make any mistakes or miss an Easter egg that you think is extremely profound, please let me know in the comments below. So the first big Easter egg you'll find inside Ellie's room. When inside, you can discover a PlayStation 3, including copies of Naughty Dog's games such as Uncharted 2 and Jak and Daxter. And for those wondering why it's a PlayStation 3 instead of a PlayStation 4, it's because Outbreak Day happened in September 2013, and the PlayStation 4 didn't release until November of 2013, so yeah, they didn't even get a chance to get a PlayStation 4. Also, while inside Ellie's room, you can find the robot toy that Ellie was going to give Sam. Those who don't know, Sam was the kid in The Last of Us Part 1. He was brother to Henry, who ended up getting infected and killed. Ellie stole the toy from the toy shop after Henry forced Sam to put it back, since their rule was they were not allowed to take anything that they couldn't use. Ellie gave him the toy, but unfortunately he passed, and she's kept the toy in order to remember Sam and Henry. In fact, Ellie planned to bury the toy along with Sam, but simply forgot. While inside the room, you can also find posters of Savage Starlight, a graphic novel that Ellie is a huge fan of, and a painting of an astronaut, which Ellie expressed interest of becoming if she was born in the old world. Now, the musical score for The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 have been critically acclaimed, thanks to Gustavo Santaolalla. If I mispronounce his name, I apologize, but his musical work have been phenomenal, and he does make a brief cameo within the game during the opening chapter. We also get to finally confirm that Buckley is still alive. For those who don't know, Buckley was the old dog in The Last of Us Part 1. He was shown briefly but never seen again. After the dam was attacked by bandits, many wondered, including myself, if Buckley survived the attack. And the Naughty Dog have decided to confirm that Buckley is still alive and well. He's just old, but he's still full of life.
That's Buckley. Not much of a guard dog.
That's a good boy.
But he's good to have around.
After Joel's murder, you'll be able to explore his house in a very touching and heartbreaking moment. You will get to explore his entire home and see the various photos and collections of Joel's woodworking interest, along with photos with Ellie. But upstairs you can find the photo of Joel and Ellie. This photo was retrieved by Tommy when he went back to Texas to see if there was anything left of Joel's home, and attempted to give the photo to Joel, to which he rejected. Ellie stole the photo and gave it to Joel at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, or towards the end of the game. He's kept it beside a photo of him and Ellie, showing how much Ellie matters to him. The next set of Easter eggs can be found in Chapter 2 inside Nancy's Knickknacks. Those who played The Last of Us Left Behind will instantly recognize the Halloween stuff, including the Skull 8-ball and the Frankenstein statue from the Left Behind DLC. There's also a Nathan Drake costume from Uncharted here. Most importantly, Ellie states that she had no interest in Halloween. This is a reference to her and Riley having an extremely good time in the Halloween store, but due to Riley's death, Halloween has left a permanent scar on Ellie, and she no longer likes the holiday because it reminds her of Riley's death.
Ask Skeleseer a question and shake for your fortune. Okay. Are we gonna die today? Nothing.
While inside Eugene's hideout, you can find another PlayStation 3 in the corner, along with a copy of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves and the Jak and Daxter trilogy. You can also find a stuffed giraffe, a reference to The Last of Us Part 1, where Joel and Ellie found a bunch of wild giraffes and they actually petted one. It was one of the more profound moments in the entire game, where Joel and Ellie just connected without the fear of being attacked by bandits or the infected.
Come here, come here. Hurry up, come on. Come on.
Hey there. So fucking cool.
Downstairs inside Eugene's weed farm, you can find his porn collection, which has references to Dawn of the Wolf, which was a Twilight parody within the Last of Us universe and the last movie that Joel saw with Sarah before Outbreak Day. We also get a reference to Crash Bandicoot called Smash Bandicoot, which is just hilarious considering that there is also a new Crash Bandicoot game in development right now.
These posters are everywhere.
I saw this before the outbreak.
You did? Is he totally gutter by the end?
Nobody gets gutted. It's a dumb teen movie.
Who dragged you to see it then?
I don't know. Let's just stay focused, all right?
During Chapter 2, you can head into the Bank of Seattle where you can locate a shotgun and find out that a bunch of robbers attempted to rob the bank during Outbreak Day. In one of the lockboxes, you can actually find Sir Francis Drake's ring from the Uncharted series with the inscription and all that says Sic Pacna Magnus, which is Latin for "From small beginnings, great things come."
Thanks, dude. Cool.
The next Easter egg is a reference to Neil Druckmann, who is the vice president of Naughty Dog and director of The Last of Us Part 2. You can find his hero card in this area once you get to the semi-open area of Seattle in Chapter 2. He actually categorizes himself as a neutral villain, and this card has actually caused a bit of controversy, but honestly, I'm not going to get into it. Neil Druckmann also changed his Twitter photo to match that of the card, which I actually find is pretty cool.
You're lucky you didn't grow up in a QZ. I'm starting to get that impression. Careful. Made it. Hello. Okay, I think that's everything here.
During the museum flashback on Ellie's birthday, Joel will make several references towards Jurassic Park when discussing dinosaurs, showing that most of his knowledge about dinosaurs comes from the movie, like most of us, but of course a lot of that information is untrue, and it's just a funny back and forth between Ellie and Joel as she reads the pamphlet. Interestingly, you can actually find that pamphlet inside Joel's house along with the hats that Ellie is wearing. Despite Joel refusing to wear it, he has one of them inside his house, which means he went back and got it, perhaps to give to Ellie at a later date. Either way, it's an extremely charming flashback and something I really enjoyed playing through.
Velociraptor.
Actually, it's a Deinonychus.
Pretty sure these are velociraptors. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what they called them in this movie I saw.
Compsognathus. Whew, it's a big name for little guys.
Yeah, they'd swarm you.
Did you see that in a movie too?
Actually, yeah. But a different one. See, there's a sequel. Wasn't as good.
Brachiosaurus ate 600 pounds of plants each day. Whew, imagine the poops.
Yeah, there's one scene where, actually one of the guys said, that's a big mound of shit.
What is this movie, and when can we see it?
Tell you what, when we get back to Jackson, movie night.
Later on in the chapter, you'll come to a small body of water that you have to swim across in order to get to the next section of the museum. While inside the body of water, you can locate a pallet, and Joel and Ellie will make reference to The Last of Us Part 1, where they had to constantly locate pallets because Ellie couldn't swim. It was extremely convenient that every water section had a pallet, and they openly mocked this. But now Ellie doesn't need it because now she can swim.
Let's go, Ellie.
Oh, there you go. That's smart.
During the same chapter, Joel will actually make reference to Pokemon when Ellie picks up one of the hero cards inside the level, stating that Sarah was into hero cards, but she was also possibly into those little creature things, hence Pokemon.
I think Sarah was into those for a while. What was those little creature thing? I forget.
When heading to Owen's aquarium as Abby, you can actually find a precursor orb from the Jak and Daxter series.
What is this?
During Seattle Day 3, you'll enter an arcade through story progression. Inside, you'll find two familiar machines from The Last of Us Left Behind. The Jak X Combat Racing arcade machine, but this time Ellie won't get into the machine. I guess she just has no interest in playing video games anymore.
All right. Turn on the engine. All right, these are my guns. Let's go for a drive. Oh shit, it's a tight turn! Oh my god, they're coming right at me! Ellie crosses the finish line! Man, shooting race cars? The game is stupid.
You can also find an arcade cabinet of the Turnin. The Turnin was a video game that Riley knew a lot about and Ellie was extremely interested in playing, but was never given the chance to play the game. Instead, Riley narrated Ellie's experience playing the game, and it looks like she's just lost interest in video games altogether. Joel is a huge fan of music. He plays the guitar and he has a huge collection of records. And during the opening scene of The Last of Us Part 2, he actually sings a song to Ellie. Those who are fans of Pearl Jam will recognize this song as Future Days. Later on in an optional cutscene in a music store, you can actually have Ellie play a version of Take Me On by AHA, and it's a very profound and absolutely enthralling moment. I mean, it's so romantic. When entering the hospital of the Washington Liberation Front, you can see someone playing a very notorious console that just couldn't keep up with Nintendo's handhelds, a PlayStation Vita, which I find incredibly surprising still works considering that Sony consoles, they don't really last like Nintendo consoles. Say what you want about Nintendo, but their systems last, with the exception of Nintendo Switch's, Joy-Con issues. So those were all the interesting Easter eggs that I found. Did I miss anything? Please leave them in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite Easter egg in The Last of Us Part 2 is. Also check out my review, my analysis of why Joel's murder made no sense, and I have a walkthrough for The Last of Us Part 2 on my channel. Till next time everyone, stay awesome.